Dear Open University students studying English as a second language in the Spanish translation program, welcome to our new course of English that has the code of 226. This is an English course like the other three courses that you studied in the previous terms, and it's more or less the same topics that we reviewed. We will have comprehension, and based on comprehension we'll have vocabulary, and then we'll have the important part, which is the grammar of English. This course includes some of the basic grammar units that we should cover in order to know how to use English perfectly and without making mistakes. The first unit that we are going to study is related to singular and plural nouns. This is something that is very important to know, and it is something that you always need. Whenever you write a sentence, you will have to choose nouns, and you'll have to choose between singular and plural nouns. The first step is to know what is meant by singular and plural, and if there are any kinds of them in English, we have to know them in order to understand how they function and how they are used in a sentence. That's why he says that making plural nouns in English is more than just adding an S. Let's read this part. He says that you surely know that in order to change a singular noun to its plural form in English, you usually add an S. Usually, but not always. In many cases, this doesn't happen. In many cases, you have to take care about many things. But there are many instances where this is not the case. Sometimes you don't put an S. Sometimes when you put an S, you have to take care of spelling problems. And this review will lead you through the most important grammar rules that you should know in order to improve your English writing and avoid mistakes in turning singular nouns to their plural forms. First of all, we have to know that we have two types of nouns in English. Of course, singular and plural is related mainly to nouns. In English, adjectives and adverbs and any other category of words doesn't take plural. The only category that takes plural is the noun. Not all nouns take plural. He says only countable nouns have plural forms. We have two different types, two basic and broad types of nouns. We have singular nouns and plural nouns. What is pluralized is the type of nouns that we call countable nouns. We have two different types of nouns, countable and uncountable. Countable nouns means that they can be counted. The idea of plural means more than one. Then we have to talk about a noun that can be counted, that can get more than one of its items. Only countable nouns have plural forms, and countable nouns represent items that exist in separated units, and you can count them. You can put numbers before them, 2, 3, 7, 100, million, such as apples, songs, or children. First of all, it has to be materialistic. لازم تكون حاجة مادية ملموسة in order to count it. I cannot count something that is not found in real life. I cannot, for example, count something like peace or love or mercy. This is not to be counted. So first of all, it has to be materialistic. The second step is that it has to exist in separated units that can be counted, okay? Like apples, songs, or children. The other type that is not counted is called countable nouns. These do not take plurals, and they represent items that exist as a mass. They cannot be counted because they are not separated. They are like a mass. Kutla, such as powders, liquids, for example, water, sand, oil, ink, sugar, tea, all of these cannot be counted because they are a mass. You can count the container. You can say a glass of water, for example, a bottle of milk, a kilo of sugar, but you cannot count sugar. You can count the container, or you can count the amount if it is weighed, okay? لو هي بتتوزن, okay? The other type that is not pluralized is the concepts, the nouns that are not concrete, like honesty, like economics, something that is not material. How can I pluralize honesty? Even in Arabic, these immaterialistic nouns are not pluralized. الأمانة, السلام, المحبة, this cannot be pluralized. In addition, this is the main difference. In addition, unlike a singular countable noun that must have at least a or an as its terminal, this is the basic difference between them. If you are using a countable noun in the singular form, you have to say that this is singular. Most of the times you have to use a or an, and by the way, a or an mean one. Okay, this is an apple, it means this is one apple. This means it's countable. But plural nouns can appear without determiners. You either put the or you don't put any determiner. By determiner we mean article, we mean definite and indefinite articles. So you can say I like apples, or I like the apples that you buy. Okay, but you can never use a or an in front of apples, because a and an mean one and apples means more than one. Then he says there may be accepted alternative spellings to the general rules presented below. So when in doubt, consult a dictionary. The main source of information, if you are going to know about singular and plural nouns, is the dictionary. Whenever you put an English dictionary, whenever you use it, to look for a word that is a noun, you are given the plural. If it is irregular plural, if it takes an S, he doesn't mention it. He takes it for granted that you know this. For example, if you look at a word like book, or a word like boy, or a word like pen, you never get the plural, because it's understood that if he doesn't mention the plural, then the plural is with an S. That's simple. But if there is something different, then the dictionary will mention it. If a noun adds anything but a simple S to make the plural, if it adds anything except the S, then most dictionaries will show the special or the alternative plural forms. If it doesn't take an S, if it takes any other thing except an S, then the dictionary will mention it. If it takes alternatives, some of the nouns, as we are going to see, get more than one plural. You can have different forms of plural, and the English dictionary must mention this. For example, if you look for a word like mango, you will find that it has two alternatives, either mangoes with an S or mangoes with an ES. And the same applies to a word like scarf. Sometimes it's pluralized as scarves, just putting an S to the word, or sometimes the F changes to a V and then you add ES, then it is scarves. Okay. Let's move to the general rules for forming the plural. Spelling rules, they are mainly related to spelling, what to add and what to change and what to omit in a word. The general rule is to add the letter S to the end of a singular noun to make it plural. This is the general and the basic rule that we should follow. I'll take this book and you can use those books over there. We have one bedroom on the first floor and then 3 more bedrooms on the second. And by the way, the word floor also is a regular noun that takes an S. If you try to pluralize it, then you will say floors. And we have hundreds and hundreds of words that follow these rules. The basic one is the word noun. If you look at the word noun, it is pluralized with an S. Okay, we say singular and plural nouns. Hundreds of words take plurals with an S, like book, like bedroom, like floor, like noun, like verb, like adjective, like pen, like bed, like cat, like dog. These nouns take just an S. That's simple for the plural. The second point to notice is compound nouns. Compound nouns are nouns that consist of more than one noun. They are one mass, they are one entity, but if you look at the basic constituents of it, you will find more than one noun inside it. Like, for example, when you say air conditioner. If you say washing machine, if you say general manager, you have more than one word. Sometimes the two words are nouns, and then you get confused. If I'm going to get the plural of this noun, where would I put an S? To the first noun or the second? Sometimes one of them is a noun and the other is not a noun, and in this, like general manager, and in this case it's easy to put the S to the noun because the other word is not a noun, and then it is not pluralized. But if you look at words like air conditioner, air is a noun and conditioner is a noun. Then where to put an S? Air conditioner is a countable noun that can be pluralized. You can have 2 or 3 air conditioners at home. So where to put the S? First of all, logically, and then meaningfully, you will choose conditioner. Logically, because air is not pluralized. How can you pluralize air? Even in Arabic, the word hawa, it can never be pluralized. Then if you use your logic, you will find that you will put the S to conditioner. Also, if you look at the meaning, one of the two words in compound words, one of the two words always carries the meaning, the general meaning, and the other one is an addition. Air conditioner. The word that carries the meaning is conditioner, mukayif, hawa. This is the main meaning is carried in this word. So meaningfully, you have to put the plural to the word that carries the meaning. In order to add a plural meaning, you have to add it to a word that already carries the main meaning. So this family uses one air conditioner and one washing machine. And again, this happens with washing. Washing is a noun, but it cannot be pluralized. Washings. You can never use a word like this. Even in Arabic, the word ghasil, it can never be pluralized. This is logically. And meaningfully, the word that carries the meaning is machine. It is a washing machine. This is what can be pluralized. Then, when you put plural, you put it to the machine, to the word machine. Their neighbors use 3 air conditioners and 2 washing machines. Okay? This is one rule. Another rule, or let's move to another example of compound words first. I have one son-in-law. Son-in-law, it means nisib, okay? زوج الابنة أو زوج الابنة, yes, is son-in-law. So in plural, we have son-in-law. We have 3 words. 2 of them are nouns, son and law. The other one is a preposition that is not pluralized. So where can we put the S? Son can get a plural, it can be sons, and law can get a plural, it can be laws. But where is the word that carries the meaning? Here this is different from the other 2 examples, because unlike air conditioner and washing machine, the 2 nouns that we have can get a plural. Not like air and washing that cannot be pluralized. Here, son and law, both of them can be pluralized. So where can we put the S? We can put here, we move to the meaning. You put the S to the word that carries the meaning, son-in-law. The word that carries the meaning is son, then you put the plural to it. I have one son-in-law and my friend Freda has 3 sons-in-law. The plural is put to son. Okay. Another rule, this was the rule for the compound nouns. The other rule is related to different types of words. He says, add an ES to a noun ending with a whistling sound. Whistling sound, it's a sound that has a sort of hissing. It's what we call sibilant, or it's a sound that has air in it. Okay, what are these sounds? S, SH, CH, X, and Z. These 5 endings, when we face a word that has one of these letters as an ending, then we have to put an ES in order to form the plural. Let's get examples. 1 bus, 3 buses. Okay, and we can say a bush, okay, and some bushes. You know the meaning of bush? Bush, it's like a small tree. شجيرة, this is what we call bush. One bus, 3 buses. A bush, some bushes. A church, many churches. A box, boxes. A buzz, buzz means رنة, okay, ring, buzzes. These are examples of the 5 different spellings that get an ES. First of all, the ES makes spelling much easier. For example, if you look at a word like bus, how can you add another S to it? If you look at a word like bush, how can you add an S to the SH? So at first, it's useful for spelling, and the second thing is that it is useful for pronunciation. It makes pronunciation easier. Buses, bushes, churches, boxes, buzzes. It gives a sort of rest between the ending of the word, the S or the SH or the CH or the X or the Z, and the plural, which is the S. The E that is added makes a balance, okay? Another rule. If the singular noun ends with a consonant plus Y, drop the Y, replace with an I, and then add ES. What does this mean? If you have a noun that ends with a consonant, what are the consonants? Consonants اللي هي الأصوات الساكنة. In English you have 26 sounds. 5 of them are called vowels, الأصوات المتحركة. A, E, I, O, U. Then you have 21 sounds that are not vowels, they are consonants, like B, C, D, G, M, N, X. So, if a noun ends, a singular noun ends with a consonant plus Y. If it ends, for example, with a BY, like baby, a TY, like city, an RY, like a word like worry, okay? What should I do? Drop the Y. I'll remove the Y completely and replace it with an I, and then we'll put an I instead of it, okay? And then we add the ES, like the previous rule, we add an ES. So what happens if the Y is not preceded by a consonant, if it is preceded by a vowel? He says don't drop the Y. If the Y is preceded يعني مسبوق, if it is preceded by a vowel, then what should I do? Just add an S, not an ES, and I would not drop the Y, I would not put an I would not make any changes to the word. I'll just put an S. Let's look at examples for this. For the first rule, which says that if the singular noun ends with a consonant plus Y, drop the Y, replace it with an I and add ES. Like city, cities. 1 city, 2 cities. What happened? The Y at the end was dropped, was cancelled. I crossed it out, شلناها خالص, and then we put an I instead of it. And then how can we make the plural? We put ES, like the previous rule. Then it becomes cities, 2 cities. Another word is baby, the plural is babies. A country, the plural is countries. Okay. What about the other rule? Don't drop the Y if the Y is preceded by a vowel, like Abe toy, toys. A day, days. Okay. And another example, let's add another example. A boy. Okay. What's the plural? Boys. Okay. Then the Y itself, if I find a word that ends with a Y, the Y itself is not a clue. It is not the answer to my question. I have the question, what should I do? if I look at the Y, it does not settle the question. I'll have to look at the letter before the Y. Unlike the other rule when we said that if you just see an S or an SH or a CH or an X or a Z, you automatically put an ES. But here with a Y, if you say, what happens to a word that ends with a Y? We just look at the word, at the letter before it. If it is a consonant, then we'll do a lot of steps. We'll drop the Y, we'll put an I, and then we'll add an ES. 3 different steps. But if it is followed, if it's preceded by a consonant, then what we have to do is just add an S. Then he gives us another rule related to the Y. If the noun ending with a Y represents the name of a person or a country, okay, it represents the name of a person or a country, add only an S in any case. This is different from what we have been saying. What we said was related to general nouns, like baby and like day and like boy and like country. This was related to general nouns. But he says if it is a proper noun, هو اسم علم, related to a person or a country, هو اسم مرتبط بشخص أو بمدينة أو بدولة, what will happen? I will ignore these rules. I will not look if it is preceded by a vowel or a consonant. No, we'll just add an S in any case. Only add an S, okay, in any case. For example, we have this sentence. John Kennedy was the most famous of the Kennedys. Kennedy is the name of a person. It is ended with a Y, and before the Y we have a D. But we don't follow the rule. We don't drop the Y and put IES because this is a noun. This is a name of a person. This is a proper noun. So we just add an S. Okay. In 1963, he didn't visit the two Germanys, الألمانيتين. This was before they were united. قبل الألمانيتين ما يتحدوا يبقوا دولة واحدة. He did not visit the two Germanys after giving his speech in West Berlin. Germany is the name of a country. This is the rule. If the noun ends with a Y representing the name of a person, this is related to Kennedy. Okay, John Kennedy. Or a country. This is related to the word Germany. Okay, the two Germanys. Okay, then this rule is different from what we have been saying so far. Another rule, if the singular noun ends with the consonant plus Y plus O, add ES. And if the O is preceded by a vowel, only add S to make the plural form. Again, this is more or less the same rule like the Y. If a noun ends with an O, like potato, like studio, okay, what should we do? The O itself does not tell me what to do. Then what should I do? I should look at the letter before the O. If the letter before the O is a consonant, we add ES. If it is a vowel, we just add an S. So if the singular noun ends with a consonant plus O, add ES. Consonant plus O. Let's look at the examples. Potato, before the O is a T. It is a consonant. Then potato, potatoes. Hero, بطل. The plural is heroes with an ES. Echo, it ends with an H before the O. The plural is echoes with an E. And by the way, the E is not pronounced. It is not like clauses. It is not a way to relax while or to have a rest while pronouncing. No. Potatoes, heroes, echoes without pronouncing the E. What happens if the O is preceded مسبوق by a vowel? We just add an S without an E. If the O is preceded by a vowel, only add S to make the plural form. A radio, radios. Why? Because it is preceded by an I, and I is a vowel in English. Like studio, studios, it's preceded also with an I. Kangaroo, it's الكنغر, okay? It's preceded by another O. So we just add an S without an E. Okay? Some other rules. Singular nouns ending with an F or an FE. Some nouns ending with an F, some nouns, not all nouns, some nouns ending with an F or an FE, drop this ending and add VES to make the plural form. Okay? Some of them, like a knife, knives. 1/2, 2/2. My life, their lives. A wolf, and then wolves. Another word that is like this, wife, a wife, and then you have the plural wives. Okay? And he says there may be alternative spellings. Sometimes you have more than one spelling. Okay? Some words do not follow this rule. They end with an F, and yet they don't change the F to V and then add ES. They just add an S. Like roof, سقف, roofs. Cliff, cliff يعني منحدر, many cliffs. A safe, safe here is not an adjective بمعنى آمن. Safe here is a noun معناها خزينة. A safe, safes. Some words have both. Okay, some words have both. Like a dwarf can be dwarfs or dwarves. Okay, dwarf can be dwarfs, can follow the previous rule, just add an S, or can follow the rule of changing the F to V and then adding ES, dwarves. And both are okay. If you look at the dictionary, you will find that both are okay. This is another type. The third or fourth rule is related to unique Old English plural nouns. Some nouns retain or keep the plurals that they had in Old English. في الإنجليش القديم جدا they had plurals that have no rule. Not all what we have said were rules, adding an ES or an S or looking at the Y and changing it to I. These are rules. You know what to do. You know if you find what, then you will do so and so. But some nouns do not follow any type of rule because they have the Old English plural nouns. They are not. They don't have justification for this. ما فيش مبرر لده. And you don't have a rule, and you can't expect what is going on. And that's why he says it's unique, فريد. Okay, it is not like any other nouns. These nouns have unique plural forms that survived لسه عايشة from Old English. Learn them according to the following groups as they are in common use. These words, the problem with these words is that they are very common. Most of the time we use them. So we have to learn them because there is no rule to follow. Okay? One group of them is related to people. A man, men. A woman becomes women. A person becomes people, although some people say persons. Okay? In man and woman, what happens is that the A in the middle changes to an E. It becomes men, women. The other type is words that get an ending that is not an S or an ES. It's an EN. Child, children. And we put REN for children, we put an R. And we don't have a certain reason for this because this is part of the old English rules. So we never say child, childs, we say children, okay? Another word is ox, ox اللي هو الثور, okay? What should have happened is that ox ends with an X, like the rule that we said. You should have put an ES, you should have said oxes, like boxes, but you say oxen, okay? Another word is, another group is the group of words that have a double O in the middle. A foot, قدم, the plural is. The double O changes to double E. Foot, okay, becomes feet. Goes, اللي هي الوزة, becomes geese. You change the double O into double E. Tooth becomes teeth. Okay. The last type is words like mouse, which have an OU. In the plural, the OU changes to an I, and the S also changes to a C. Mouse, اللي هو الفار, it becomes mice. Another word is die, die اللي هو حجر النرد ده اللي بيتلعب بيه الدومنة والحاجات. The plural is not dice, it's dice. It's dice. Okay. Another type is what he calls one form for singular and plural. Many nouns have identical forms for both singular and plural. Sometimes you say a so and so, and then you have the plural is not within a, but it is the same form, the same spelling, and the same pronunciation. For example, you say a sheep, sheep, خروف, one sheep and 3 sheep without an S. A deer, and the plural is deer, غزال, okay. A fish, fish also. Sometimes you use fishes, yes, but if we are talking about different species of fish, يعني 3 fish لو هم the same type, لو هم نفس نوعية السمك, لكن some fishes يعني أنواع مختلفة من الأسماك. A dozen, and the plural is 2 dozen also. We don't say 2 dozens. If you put numbers, you don't add plural, 2 dozen, but dozens of roses. 100 people, but several hundred. We don't say 300s. Okay, like Arabic, you don't say 3000, 1000 و 3000. No, in English, 100 and several hundreds, 100 and 200, 1000 and 2000. Okay, without number, you add plural, hundreds of people or thousands of men. Okay. Special singular and plural cases. Okay, this is what we call collective nouns. Sometimes a word is not plural as a form, but takes a plural verb. And sometimes it has an S at the end, and yet it's treated as singular. Let's look at this. Some nouns have a plural form ending with S or without. Okay, the police are looking for the robbers. I like these pants or jeans or shorts. There is no singular. The first step is that it's plural without a singular. For police, it does not ending with an S, but with pants, اللي هي pantalon, jeans, shorts, it ends with an S. Use either scissors or nail clippers. Okay, القصافة والحاجات اللي هي فيها والسيزرز والمقص والحاجات دي كلها اللي هي فيها 2 different blades, plural, no singular. Binoculars are stronger than any glasses. Binoculars اللي هي النضارة المعظمة. Okay. النضارة المعظمة. Plural with no singular. And glasses also نضارة. امتى بتبقى singular? If you mean by glass case كوباية. Okay. It becomes a singular and you can have a plural from it. Other nouns ending with an S have a plural form only with certain meanings. في كلمات فيها plural بمعاني مختلفة عن لما أنا بشيل منها البلورال. Like customs, like the word customs. عادات. We know custom و customs. عادة وعادات. But customs at the airport اللي هي الجمارك. This is only plural. Guts. Guts اللي هي الأحشاء. But sometimes it's used in literature to mean courage. Okay. عنده قلب جامد. Okay. It's plural. Quarters. Quarters معناها سكن. Okay. Lodgings, not 1/4. Clothes. It's garments اللي هي الملابس, not fabrics, مش الأقمشة. It's also always plural. Goods. بضائع. Okay. Merchandise. بضائع not the opposite of bad. ما هياش good اللي هي ما حدش يتخض يقول goods. Adjective ازاي تاخد اس. Arms اللي هي الأسلحة. اللي هي weapons not limb. مش الطرف, مش الدراع, لكن arms اللي هي الأسلحة. It has no singular. Another type is the singular nouns with an S ending. Some nouns end with an S, but they are singular. They take a singular verb with an S ending in the present simple. They end with an S, but they are singular. Okay. For example, some diseases like measles. Measles اللي هي الحصبة. It's an S. It ends with an S, but it is singular. Fields of study and occupation. مجالات الدراسة والشغل. Economics الاقتصاد. Ethics الأخلاق. Linguistics اللغويات أو علم اللغة. Politics السياسة. Physics الفيزياء. Gymnastics الألعاب الرياضية. كل ده ends with an S, but it is singular. You say economics is my major. Okay. Some games like dominoes, like darts, like cards. كل الألعاب اللي هي لها علاقة بالكوتشينة والشطرنج والحاجات دي كلها singular رغم إن هي منتهية بس. And the famous word that we have is news. News. It ends with an S, but it is singular. If you look at the reason for this, it's because news is consisting of the beginning or the initial letters of these words. North. Okay. Plus east. Plus west. Plus south. What happens is that they got the first letter of the 4 words. Okay, so the S is not a plural. It is just because it's the S in south. Okay. Okay. So news does not have a plural form. رغم ان احنا بالعربي بنقول خبر واخبار. Another word that you should take care of is information. Information is always singular. It doesn't have a plural. رغم ان احنا بالعربي بنقول معلومة ومعلومات, بس in English we don't say informations. Some of the words that we use in examples. I study mathematics, which is very difficult. Mathematics is. Dominoes is my favorite pastime. Some nouns have an identical form for singular and plural. Barracks اللي هي الحواجز singular و plural. means وسيلة ووسائل singular و plural. headquarters مقر القيادة أو الإدارة singular و plural. crossroads اللي هي مفترق طرق singular و plural. series اللي هي مسلسلات التلفزيون a TV series and many TV series مفيش plural هي. money is a means to an end. okay means وسيلة. okay newspapers and TV are means of mass communication وسائل. and we have a word like species اللي هي فصيلة أو سلالة. okay this is what there is one species of humans but many species of cats. okay all these words don't have plural form that is different from the singular. We have the same form, singular and plural. Sometimes you have it preceded by a or an, and then in another sentence you find it as plural, and it is the same. The last point that we have is that we have plural nouns from other languages. As you know that English has borrowed words from other languages, like French, like Greek, like Latin. And what happened is that when English borrowed nouns, it borrowed the plural as it is in the language of the word. Okay, if it borrowed from Greek, then it had the Greek ending to the plural. If it borrowed from Latin, it had the Latin ending. There are many nouns with plural endings taken from source language, from the source language, من اللغة الأصلية اللي الإنجليش أخذ منها. Some of these, notably English and Classical Greek, have been angelicized, يعني become English, and many of them have a plural ending with an S. Others have both forms. طبعا مع التداول احيانا كتيره بنلاقي الكلمات خلاص بقت انجلش، بقت انجليسايزد يعني بقت انجلش، فبقت تاخد البلورال بتاعها بالاس زي الانجلش. في احيانا تانية فضل اللاتين او الجريك اندنج زي ما هو. احيانا تالتة بقوا في الاثنين، بقى عندي الاثنين بيتنافسوا. Others have both forms, while the original is used in formal language or by specialists, while the angelicized is for more common use. Some of these are now almost only known or used in the plural form, which is treated as singular for subject-verb agreement. Let's look at them. In Latin, if a word ended with a um, then the plural becomes an ia. Like bacterium becomes bacteria, one bacterium and bacteria. The internet is the newest medium وسيلة اتصال generally. The plural is media with an A. Okay, IA. Each school should have a curriculum اللي هو مقرر أو منهج دراسي. The plural is curricula with an A. It is not an I. Okay, let's put an I between brackets because sometimes it is not used. Okay. Bacterium becomes bacteria. Medium becomes media. Datum, yeah, we forgot about datum. Datum becomes data. Okay, with an A. Either it's an A or an IA. عشان كده حطينا I between brackets. Another rule, if the word in Latin ends with an O N, the plural becomes an A. One criterion يعني معيار أساس للحكم يعني, the plural is criteria. One natural phenomena, the plural is phenomenon, the plural is phenomena. Okay. Another type is if it ends with an IS, the plural is, we don't add an ES, but we change the I into E. Like psychological analysis. Analysis يعني تحليل. The plural analyses. Okay. The oil crisis. Crisis يعني أزمة with an IS. The plural is crises. The basis with an IS, the plural is basis, okay, with an E. It's different in pronunciation also. Hypothesis يعني افتراض with an IS, okay. The plural is hypotheses. Okay. And if the noun in Greek sorry, in Latin, ended with an A, the plural becomes, you add an E. Okay? Like the TV antenna, antenna اللي هو الأريال, the plural is antennae with an E. Although sometimes we say antenna, this is what he called angelicized. Okay? خلاص بقت English, بقى عندي الاثنين antennas or antennae, and both are okay. We have C algae. Okay? طحالب, the plural algae, and the plural is algae. If the word ended with US, then the plural is changed into an I. Radius, circles, radius اللي هو نص قطرها, the plural is radii. It ends with an I. Okay, if you drop the US, you have an I, and then you put another I. Fungus, it's sort of حاجة زي الفطريات كده, the plural is fungi. And aluminous زي بعثة علمية, the plural is alumni. Okay. The other and the last rule is if the word ends with an EX or an IX, like index اللي هو الفهرس أو matrix. Okay, الوسط أو الميديم, the plural is, you change all this, you drop all this, and you add an ICES. Index, the plural is indices. Matrix, matrices. Appendix, appendices. Although the words index and appendix now have more angelicized plurals. You can say indexes and appendixes. Both are okay. Okay. Let's move to the exercises to check that we have fully grasped this area. The first exercise is choose the best answer. The plural form of baby is, and he gives us 4 choices. What's the plural of baby? Baby ends with Y. Before the Y we have a B. B is consonant. Then we change the Y into IES. Then this is the correct answer. Babies. Okay. The plural of key is. Key ends with a Y also, but before the Y there is a vowel. Then what we have to do is to add just an S. Then we have keys. The plural of wish. Wish ends with an SH. And words ending with an SH or CH have the plural with an ES. You add an ES, then the plural is wishes. We have the plural of church, ends with a CH. We add an ES, then the plural is churches. The plural of show is. Show, it's irregular. It does not end with an O or a Y or whatever of the rules that we mentioned. Then what we have to do is just add an S. Okay. Shows, عروض. Okay. The plural of loss. Loss يعني خسارة. The plural of loss is, loss ends with a double S. Okay. Like gloss, like gloss. Then what we have to do is to add an ES. Losses. The plural of enemy. Enemy يعني عدو. Enemy ends with a Y, and before the Y we have an M. M is a consonant, then we have to drop the Y, add an I, and then ES. Enemies. Line. What's the problem with line? It ends with an E. I don't have any problem in adding just an S. The plural is lines. The plural of way. It ends with a Y. Before the Y, like key. Before the Y there is a vowel. Then what we have to do just is to add an S. Okay. It becomes ways. The last one is box. It ends with an X. Then we add ES. Boxes. And here are the answers. Babies. Keys. Wishes. Churches. Shows. Losses. Enemies. Lines. Ways. Boxes. The other exercise asks us to, for each noun, write the plural form. Berry. Berry ends with a Y. Before the Y there is an R. Then what we have to do is it becomes berries. Okay? Berries. We change the Y into IES. Book. Book is very regular. What we have to do is to add an S. Okay? Arch. Arch ends with a CH, then we add an ES. Arches. Okay. Fire. It's regular. We add an S. It ends with an E. We add an S. Fly. Zubeba. Ends with a Y. Before the Y there is a consonant. Then we change the Y into I and then add ES. Clock. Ends with a K. No problem. You add an S. Okay. Dish. Ends with an SH. Then we add ES. Burger ends with an R. No problem. You just add an S. Dress ends with a double S. We add ES. Match ends with a CH. We add ES. Tomato ends with an O. Before the O we have a consonant. Then we add an ES. Family ends with a Y. Before the Y we have a consonant. Then we change the Y into I and add ES. Echo ends with an O, like tomato. Before the O we have a consonant. Then we add ES. City ends with a Y. Before the Y we have a consonant. Then we drop the Y and add I and then ES. Thief. It ends with an F. But what we have to do is to change the F into V and then we add ES. Thieves. Okay. Pray. Pray يعني فريسة. It ends with a Y. Before the Y we have a vowel. Then what we have to do is to add an S. Leaf اللي هي ورقة شجر. The plural. We change the F to V and then add ES. The same happens with wolf اللي هو الذئب. We have an F, then we change it into V and then add ES. And then we change mouse. We don't add an S, we change it in the middle. It becomes mice. The last word we have is necklace. Necklace اللي هو عقد. We just add an S because it ends with an E. We just add an S. Okay, this applies the rules that we have. Let's look at them. Berries, books, arches, fires, flies, clocks, dishes, burgers, dresses, matches, tomatoes, families, echoes, cities, thieves, praise, leaves, wolves, mice, and then the last word is necklaces. In this way, we covered the plural and we have to know the rules. We have to apply the rules all the time. We have to know which rule to apply and how to apply it. We have to know the words that are exceptional, that are irregular and don't follow any rule, like man and child and ox. And we have to practice this. Whenever you meet a word, a noun that has a plural, you have to ask yourself, how should I put it into the plural form? Which rule is to be applied and why, and how to apply it to make correct plurals. Whenever you have doubts, whenever you are not sure of which plural you should use, you have to check your English dictionary, and in all cases you will find the answer. With this we come to the end of our episode. Thank you very much. Hope that it was useful and was easy for you. Thank you very much, and let's meet next time to discuss another part of our course. Thank you very much.